Welcome to another edition of the ARCA Menards Series Preview Show. I'm Casey Campbell, and that's ARCA Menards Series PR Director Charlie Kroll. Before he gets going to New Symrna for World Series of Asphalt, which is this weekend, and continuing through the day until the Daytona 500. How's it going?
It's going great, Casey. I'm actually getting ready to head down south tomorrow. I'll be down in Charlotte for a night, staying with my aunt and uncle down there, and we're going to relive a little bit of our shared family history from 40 years ago, back when my uncle's race team won the Daytona 500 with Bobby Allison. That's always going to be a fun topic to talk about. But then we'll get down to Daytona and get down to this year's version of Speed Weeks. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be exciting. So let's talk about that ARCA East. Let's start with ARCA East. I know everyone has talked about ARCA East, and there's going to be we've got a good interest from the series. I know you told when you were on with Garth Allen last week of Racing News Now, you'd said about 18 to 20 cars are going to be expected at New Symrna. How exciting is that for the ARCA East race? And there's a lot of new players in this year's field.
Yeah, the entry list that I have on it right now has about, I think, 8 or 10 cars on it, but we're obviously expecting more throughout the rest of the week. I think we're going to end up right around 17, 18, 19 cars, which would be great. There has been a lot of interest in that series this year. I think a lot of folks realize, with the 4 standalone East races, then you have the 3 that are combination races with the ARCA Menards series, that it's actually a pretty neat little deal. And if you're going to be running those national tour races anyhow, it's really not that much of a stretch to come out and do those additional 4 races. So yeah, it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to the entirety of the World Series down there. It's going to be the first time that we're going to have our content on Flow Racing. I know there's been some NASCAR Roots programming up there already, but the first time I've ever done some broadcasts with the Roots package there. So I'm looking forward to that. And the entry lists there, whether it's the super late model division, the pro late model division, the tour type modifieds, it's been pretty stout from what I've been able to gather over the course of the last couple of weeks. So I'm really, really looking forward to it, Casey. It's going to be a good 8 or 10 days down there.
Yeah, of course, all the East and West and the rest of the Roots content, of course, for the 15th millionth time, we've told you it will be on Flow Racing this year.
Yeah.
Of course, all the NASCAR Roots packages that were on Track Pass are now moved over to Flow Racing. And if you haven't got Flow Racing yet, it's probably time to do so now, because it is going to be well worth it. Because Charlie, tell them what you're going to get with if you.
So you get a ton of racing programming, in addition to every ARCA East, ARCA West, NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. You've got several other NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts weekly tracks that will have their weekly shows up there on Flow as well. If you're a sprint car fan like I am, you've got all of the All-Star Circuit of Champions. You've got every USAC National Series race, and that's from Silver Crown, sprints, midgets. There's 99 USAC races. And on top of that, which already is a great deal, you get the Chili Bowl, man. You get every preliminary night of the Chili Bowl. And then Saturday, you get all of the alphabet soup from, the Q mains, whatever, through, the C mains. It's such a tremendous bargain. I've been a subscriber on Flow for 4 or 5 years now. It's the best. I get it. It's $150. That's not. It's not $299 like it was last year, but for me, it's the best $150 I spend all year long. It really is. I am a racing junkie, and it gives me everything I'm looking for.
And of course, they have the entirety of the Chili, but they've recorded the entirety of the Chili Bowl. Right. You can go watch it all on Flow. So of course, and of course also that's where the East and West. Of course, you'll be calling the races once again for 2022. let's talk about who we're going to expect to see down there. I know that Taylor Gray, I know that Joe Gibbs Racing has not yet made an announcement, but I think most people know who will be in there.
Yeah.
Young's Motorsports, of course, Leland Honeyman Jr. will be down there. There's going to be some more players that possibly could be down there as well, including some surprise names.
Yeah, and I don't want to ruin anybody's announcement, so I'm not going to, if someone hasn't made that announcement yet, I'm not going to be the one to do it. But, I think that there will be a couple of interesting names on that list, certainly for New Symrna, and hopefully throughout the rest of 2022. But yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of real positive energy going around the East Tour right now. We're trying to just kind of replicate what we're doing out West. West, there's a lot of real positive momentum out there. There's the team owners are really kind of buying into what we're doing. The racetracks are pretty enthused about it. We've got great fan support out there, as we have with that series since its inception, way back in the 1950s. So yeah, I think it's been a little bit more of a challenge, and we still have a lot of work to do, Casey. We're by no means settling, and resting on our laurels here. There's a lot of work to be done with that ARCA Menards Series East program. But yeah, I think that we've taken a couple of really good steps here in this off season, and it's been great to see.
Yeah, for sure. And then of course from New Symrna, you're going to head down to Daytona for the main ARCA Menards Series race, and that's going to be really interesting because we now have more players now for the championship. I think at least 5. I know there's going to be a few more that will announce their plans soon. But what do you think about so far of the drivers that have already announced plans to run for the full-time championship?
So we've got Nick Sanchez and Roger Carruth, Daniel Dye, Amber Belkin, Tony Breidinger, Brad Smith. Those are the drivers who have indicated they're going to run all 20 races so far. I think there's a chance that Greg Van Alst could also transition into a full-time team here in 2022. We'd love to see it. That's fantastic. And, there's an angle there, Casey, that, it's going to be very interesting because, we've got some drivers looking to make some history here this season. Nick Sanchez looking to become the first Latino to become a nationally touring stock car champion. Roger Carruth looking to become the first African-American stock car champion in a national touring series. We've got 2 full-time female championship contenders in Tony Breidinger and Amber Balkin. There's a lot of really interesting storylines going on here right now. And it's going to be exciting because I think we're going to see it at times. We're going to see all of those drivers running up near the front of the field. I think far and away, to me, my favorite for the championship, I think, has to be Nick Sanchez. He's already won a race, and Rev is a pretty solid team. Daniel also is a winner. Let's not overlook Daniel Dye. He's a winner, but I think, based on what I've seen at GMS, they've had to do a little bit of a rebuilding there in Marty Lindley's absence, and Chad Bryant is definitely the guy to get it done. So I think I would probably slot Daniel in there as my second favorite. Raja is a little bit of an unknown quantity because, although he ran for the East Championship last year, that it's 8 races. I think Raja's going to get a win this year. I just want to see what he's going to be able to do over a longer 20 race season. I will tell you, my expectation is going to be all 3 of these drivers in contention when we get to the finale at Toledo, and I hope that it works out that way. And then it'll just be, may the best man win, or I should say the best driver win, because I also anticipate that, Amber and Tony will stay in the mix as well. They've got really good, solid race teams behind them, and I wouldn't be surprised to see one of them, steal a victory somewhere along the way as well. Mark Rett is a championship winning crew chief in his own right. Back in 2009, and anytime you've got the Venerini Motorsports team behind you, as Tony Breidinger does, you're going to be in pretty solid equipment. So All 5 of those drivers, I think, are going to have just an absolutely just the absolute best case scenario for each and every one of them. They're going to have a shot to win. They're going to have a shot to run up front and fight for that championship. And like I said, may the best driver win.
Yeah, and there's also going to be other players as well, because you'll have Joe Gibbs Racing, you'll have the Venturini team. Of course, Corey Heim will be at Daytona. Jesse Love will be in a majority in that 20 car. You're going to see a majority. You're going to see a ton of drivers driving for Venturini, from Parker Chase to Jonathan Schaefer to Connor Jones to Landon Pemberton to Tom Hessert.
Hey, at least you're paying attention to who they've got lined up there, because I can't remember.
Yeah, because I've talked to all of them.
Yeah, I can't remember all of that.
Yeah. I've been Gustine as well. So yeah, it'll be a fun year in ARCA. Of course, DGR with Taylor Gray. It's gonna be really interesting for sure to see all that happen. But I know they're not. Also, one last thing I want to point on. I know that this series isn't starting till March, but you got to be excited about what the West Series is putting together.
Oh yeah, man. The West right now is really where a lot of my enthusiasm and excitement is coming from. There are 11 races on the schedule. We're going to go to some really cool racetracks. I'm stoked to go to Portland twice. That race last year at Portland was phenomenal. So to be able to go there twice this year, I think is going to be great. To get to go back to Kern County, what a phenomenal facility that is. 2 races at Irwindale. That's going to be great. And then you got those traditional short tracks, the Bull Ring up at Vegas. You've got All American Speedway back on the calendar, and it's going to be fantastic. And coming off of that championship battle that we had last year, even had me a little tongue tied there on the final lap of the final race. I'm stoked, man. I'm super excited for it. I can't wait to get it started. And I think we've got a busy enough week there at Daytona and New Symrna that we're going to need to recharge our batteries for a couple of weeks. But boy, I'm telling you, that race at Phoenix is going to be really, really stout. We're going to have a great lineup of teams from the Midwest and the East Coast making the trip out west, and those West Coast guys I know really want to go out there and fight hard to defend their home turf. So it should be a good race.
Yeah, Phoenix is going to have a loaded entry list for ARCA. So we'll stay tuned to that. But we got New Symrna and Daytona. Charlie will be heading down there to cover the racing for Flow Racing and for the NASCAR Roots package. So fun stuff there. That's going to do it for this week's ARCA preview show. We'll catch you in about a few weeks to talk about Phoenix.